Okay. Going soft live here, live, whichever, don't really know. This isn't really anything too major of a stream. This is literally just me making some maps, and you know what, I'm already talking to myself, so I might as well invite others to my suffering. Don't know why I am. I just am. Don't even really know if anyone's going to tune in with how late I'm doing this. Don't even know how long I'm going to be doing this. I just am. Let's see. And all right. Okay. So I have all my pre-stream stuff done. I'll get myself switched over here. Get my drawing mouse plugged in. Okay, here we are. So I'm not really doing anything too fancy. I'm just working on... I have a D&D game I'm working on that I'm trying to remake some of my maps for that I had made years ago when I first used this world. And one of my players recommended this website to me, and it's a pretty nice site. It's Inkarnate.com. They've got a lot of stuff. Hey there, Brian. Welcome to the stream. They seem to have a lot of stuff here, even for just the free version. Lots of good tools for making maps. And so I'm just kind of experimenting with some of the different tools that they've got here, seeing what all there is, and what I can make for this world out of it. So, yeah, just going to be a pretty chill one. Rambling about different little details about the world and why this is that way or that is this way type of thing. Currently getting the southern continent filled in of Cornax. This is the land of the dwarves down here. Or at least the homeland of the dwarves. They can kind of be found everywhere, but in this world they originated down here. So, and just to be able to give people just a view of what I've currently got worked on so far, this is the full world map that I've got so far of my custom campaign world. This is Solarnox. Got my main continent of Solaris here, its smaller island of Palem, the Isle of Nightmares, the continent of Zurich to the north, the western continent of Alahim, at least I think that's how I pronounce it, and then Cornax down here is where I'm currently working on. Right now, I'm just trying to get the general shapes of each of the different continents done. Then I'm going to move to focus on getting the different textures done, and then some of the more minor details and such like that afterwards. So for right now, it's just going to be a lot of filling things in, pretty much. Let's see, we can go a little bigger than that. We can go to 17. Yeah, 17's fine. I'm also trying out while I'm doing this, I picked up this new thing from local discount store that it's a mouse, but it's in the shape of a pen. So I'm not like using a tablet to draw or anything like that. I don't have anything that would even remotely do that. So it's just this small little pen, got the different buttons on it, right click, left click, scroll wheel. And I'm just using because it gives me a little bit better control over where my hand goes, even if it's a tad unresponsive at times and a bit behind. But, you know, it's not enough to where it's really distracting. I'm able to center on it pretty well. Yeah, this island specifically, Cornax. Once I actually get to some of the more details of it, it's actually supposed to be in the shape of a firebird, of a phoenix-ish thing, is what the original inspiration for this land was, due to the god that created this specific land in my world's mythology that I've got. But it does very much look like a hand or a talon type thing at this stage in its development. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna get some of these more finer details hammered out here. Switch over to the subtract tool. Carve out a chunk at the top there. A little notch in the land there. I want to have that corner there. Okay, then when it starts to curve up, it's up a little sooner than that. Because so with these maps, they are based off of my old original concepts that I had for this world for when I originally did it. Let me see if I can't pull up a couple of them. So, not that this is the content the continent I'm working on right now, but so for example, this was my secondary map that I had. That was the general rough shapes of the different continents of where they were in the world to be able to give my original players just some kind of bearings to it. And then this was even farther back, my original maps, which is where my different shapes and whatnot are being based off of for it all. So like this one was my original world map that I had, where it was literally just, here's the continent you're playing on, here's the little one that there'll be something, other continent, other things you'll probably never deal with, don't worry about it. And then here was just all the different continents, big ones, smaller ones, everything in between, my islands that are too small to actually see, so I zoomed in on them. So these are what I'm referencing if you hear any papers rustling or I look away at something suddenly. Like right now, where I'm working on getting the more detailed shapes here of Cornax. Because I am by no stretch of the imagination an artist. But you know, I want to have something that looks nice for my players at the very least. Notch there. There we go. Dip that down. I made this one a little too thick, so we're gonna pull away some of this top of the continent a little bit. There we go. That's more in line for my original shape. Okay, let's see. This down here, actually, oddly enough, kind of stayed exactly where I needed it to be. Come over here. There's a little dip in the island continent around there. Made that a little too harsh. I'll have to fix that. Second one there. And then right there at the corner. Comes up here to the top, and then that's pretty well just straightforward there. Emperor of Pertinax. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that one. Yeah, I honestly don't remember where the names came from. I just kind of pulled them out of my head. Might have had some subconscious thinkings of with them. But Solaris, that one was mildly based off of the sun with solar, that type of thing. The other continent of Panem. At least I think I'm pronouncing that right. Oops, I just made an island. Panem. Palem, not Panem. So the subcontinent of Palem, the mysterious continent of Alahim, the Isle of Nightmares, and the dragon continent of Zurich. Honestly, could not even begin to tell you where any of the names or ideas came from. Just a DM desperately trying to make a world for his players and make it interesting. Okay, I think that makes Cornax done. Yeah, that one looks alright. So I've got Solaris, Palem, the Isle of Nightmares, Zurich, Alahim, and Cornax. We're gonna come up here for my extra thing that's up here. Let's go ahead and add some land. I'm still on the subtract tool. Whoops. Okay. Just gonna add some land up here. Nothing much to this one up here. It's not a continent, actually. As when I get to texturing them, that one's going to change completely from being normal ground texture to a whole different thing. Because that is not a continent. That is a active supervolcano. Oh man. Yeah, I'm really not familiar with that one like at all. That's kind of odd. Okay, this one, there's not much I can do to show it because the pole, I can just give this little bit here. Yeah, this is the southern pole of the planet. It's not a very big continent, it's just kind of there and does its best. Then let's see, how much room? Ouch, 86 days? That is a pathetic time to rule. I don't really have too much room over there. I'm not going to bother giving it a zoomed in version. I don't even have a name for this continent down there. It's just one of those things that I filled out the world with it, but didn't actually do anything with it. Okay, then I've got these up here with my Isles of Mystery. Name pending. I don't actually have them called anything as it stands. I want to stay in my corner. Interesting. There was a lot of things about different rulers of Rome that I'm like, there is so many I could never even hope to keep up with it all. Okay, no, we need smaller. We're gonna go with our 3. That looks about small enough. Because these islands up here be tiny. They be actual islands. Because these, the Isles of Mystery, as they are tentatively called, they are a very not developed set of islands. Ouch, order to be executed. That's pretty rough. So these isles over here, they live in very close proximity to the previously mentioned supervolcano up just right over here from where they live. They live in constant fear of it erupting at any given day. They could all die at any given moment. They don't know. They just exist. Most of the time, people don't even realize they are over here because, you know, when you're in an timey fantasy world, you know, fast travel isn't really a thing unless you're the heroes. Oh yeah, that sucks even more. To be sandwiched between two great rulers that went for a while. Oh yeah, you would not want to live on these islands over here. It is not a happy place. Not a happy place whatsoever. What's going on? Yeah, not my problem. Oh, I made an island again. I keep doing that. Just poof, I misclick, and then boom, there's a whole island there that I've now got to take care of. I don't want it, so I'm just going to destroy it. Alrighty, Brian. Well, thanks for stopping by at the very least. This is just kind of a chill stream, just a case of I'm already talking to myself, so I might as well record me talking to myself. Have a good one, and we'll catch you next time. Okay, gotta draw this little odd shape here. It's an island that's got a notch into it. How did these islands form over here? I don't know. Because they obviously aren't the super volcano. But they obviously didn't shatter off of one of the bigger continents either. They just kind of exist. One of those things where fantasy, magic, I don't know, think of why it exists, that's probably why. Okay, that's got a bit of an odd shape. Whoa! Thank you, mouse. I totally wanted that. That is not what I wanted or needed at all. Because, surprise, surprise, random lines are not helpful when drawing a map. Okay. Okay, then we gotta bring this up here a little bit. We gotta bring this corner down a little bit, drag it up and around. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see, to fill this in for the most part, I can just kind of select block here, because that whole square is within it. And that takes care of a big chunk. Back to my circle over here to just fill in the rest of the little bits here and there. And there we go. We have our Isles of Mystery kind of spread out from each other, and yeah. Okay, now let's get zoomed back out here. Is there anything else I need to draw on this? Let's see. Solaris, Palem, Cornax, Zurich, Isle of Nightmares, Alahim, Southern Continent, the Isles of Mystery. No, that looks like that is all of it. So I can zoom in and start working on details. Because I'm right here, I'm just going to go ahead and start with my Isles of Mystery up here. Let's see. These isles are not quite desert-y area, but they are also not grassland. We're going to give them a slight red tinge to them. Let's see. Is that actually a good idea? Because I think I might... Is that my reddest option that I've got? It is. I do not want to go with that one, so I'm actually going to go with this off brown tan color, because I need the red for the lava land up in the other corner. Oh yeah, lava land. That's what I kind of forgot to draw a little bit of. Not much. Just enough to where you remember that, yeah, there kind of be lava over here. Because the world connects on itself. It's not just devoid. It's not a flat world. It doesn't just drop off once you get to one end of it. There be actual roundness to this planet, even if it's a fantasy world. Okay. So that's all that drawn in. Go back to my coloring tool. Select our red. Got our lava land up here. While I've got this highlighted up, we're just going to jump back over here to this lava land and get it colored in. Oh, that's a nice vibrant red. That definitely reminds you that, hey, this is lava. Okay. Now let's come over here to Zurich, the misleading continent. The fun fact with Zurich is that little nub there is all people believe the continent to be. Because most people think this is all Zurich is. This is the land of dragons and that is it. Most people, unless you actually come here or are from here, don't realize that there is a whole continent up here that is where all the Dargans and all that live. So let's see. We've got normal lush grasslands for the most part, so we're gonna get the basic color on here. Make it all green. And then we're going to go and start adding the different textures to it. Okay, so most of the big part of the continent is covered in a desert. Due to the nature of what is here, most of the continent is kind of burnt up. Because as where there is a super volcano off to the east and west of here, Zurich is also home to its giant mountain being just a big massive fuck off desert. Sorry, not a fuck off desert, a fuck off volcano. And that volcano kind of has a bad habit of randomly deciding it's time for it to go off again and just decimating quite a lot in the area. To the point that in the olden days of the world, it actually erupted so badly one time, thanks to a red dragon using its powers to help it, that an entire chunk of the continent was completely decimated. Everything northwest of where that volcano was completely destroyed and will stay that way for the rest of all time until someone can figure out a way to How do we recultivate land that has been literally burnt to the ground to where there is nothing to build upon even anymore? And as you can see from the size of things, because this is a continent after all, it kind of destroyed a lot. Because all of that there is completely uninhabitable. Nothing can grow there, even with the help of basic magics to help things grow. It is just decimation and desolation. Okay, next down here we've got the Isle of Nightmares, which is the home of the orcs. It is just a desert. There's nothing notable about it other than the orcs one time, eons ago, were banished there, and there they've just kind of stayed. There's really not much more to that. It's just they got banished there, and there they are. Okay, let's see. Okay, so over to our mainland of Solaris. It's got a little isle off to the west of it. Don't have a name for it yet, but it is a snowy isle. No one's quite sure how this one stays snowy all the time, but it's just always in snow. Like, there is no heat waves, nothing that melts it. It is always just covered in snow. And that's how it's always been and how it always will be. Okay, for the mainland of Solaris, it's got a veritable range of stuff to it, being the mainland continent. Obviously, a lot of shit goes down here. We're gonna supersize that and just coat the entire thing in green. Because, you know, green is what everything is baseline. And then we add other things onto it. Okay. So we've based everything. Now let's find our secondary colors. So there's a couple different deserts in Solaris. The first is up here in this corner. From here about downwards. Right over there. This corner is just kind of the outskirts on it. Possibly it could be a remnant of this place as a desert for being as close to the volcano isle as it is, but no one's really quite sure. And I just realized I never touched up this island, so we're gonna quickly come over here and carve out a couple chunks of Solaris here that don't belong. Right there. A little bit right there. And these are still very rough drafts. So I mean, like, I'll probably end up coming back to this later on my own time and touching it up more, so I'm just getting basic things done right now. Yeah, we're gonna call that there, that's alright. Okay. So it's got its big desert up there. Right over here is the oddball desert. This desert does not actually go through the entirety of right there, but it's just easier if I draw it as such. Then we've got a desert range that just covers the continent from there. One moment, guys. You know, sorry about that, guys. Just had to mute there for a minute. So, for here on Solaris, we've got, this is a mountain range here that I'm probably going to add some of the thematic mountains to once I get to that stage. And then the river here, which originally when I made this campaign was the Zora River, because this was a filthy 3.5 campaign that had a lot of homebrew content in it, some of which were Zelda. So that was originally the Zora River. It's going to belong to a different water people now. It's probably going to be a generic merfolk land. I'm unsure yet how I'm going to retool that one, but it's there. And then the mountain range is where the Duergar live, which are the Dark Dwarves. They own that mountain. They have all the precious jewels and stones from said mountain, and all around just kind of rule that mountain and don't listen to the rest of the government on said continent. Because, you know, they're rebels like that. Okay, so next down here we've got the Isle of Palem, which differs from my original scans because of lore changes, with it being a big time jump since my campaign originally took place. So this isle down here, this continent, is connected to Solaris by the Palem Canal. However, it is also in very close proximity to Cornax down here, and over the years was always a big place of contention between the two. It ended up in the hands of the Solaris Empire eventually, but it was very sought after and is probably going to be one of the main points of contention in my game as well. But the reason it is sought after is because of this here in the middle. Its notable thing, its resource, and all that fun stuff, because that is the Mines of Tulak Sol, or as it's better known as, the Heart Source. This right here is where an ancient machine crashed long before this world was fully put together. No one quite knows where it came from. No one knows where it was trying to go. But a mysterious device inside these mines allows whoever is able to control it to manipulate the weather for the surrounding areas. It is left to where its own energy consumption freezes over the areas around it, but it can be turned to where basically it could cover the entirety of, at the very least, Solaris and Cornax. Could completely cover them in snow, completely cover them in immense heat, whatever the owners would wish to do. And it is rumored to be able to even reach as far as the entire planet. However, no one's ever dared test this. And the only times that it has even been tested for how far it could go was during my original campaign, where a group of fanatics got control of it and froze over everything, cutting from here in the world down as far as they could reach, covering it in a never-ending winter, until the adventurers were able to come and liberate that section, going down as one of the legends in this world. Some people speculate in the world that this little island over here also has a similar thing with a machine that crashed there long ago, but no one's ever delved deep enough into here to be able to test that, as it's just always cold there with no explainable reason. But Palem is sought after due to its machine buried deep within it that can potentially destroy another continent if you so wished. Okay, next we're back to Cornax, which I've also got to keep in mind from my original documents, as most of it was covered in snow originally due to the machine fucking over the land. So, gonna start with our base coat green again. Just because most of this is going to be lush lands, because I'm very uncreative and think that for most basic lands it should be grasslands. Because, you know, I don't want to have to deal with having everything covered in one type of thing that's a harsh environment. Just grasslands, plains, whatever you want to call it. One of the more common things that if you have a ranger playing, that they're going to pick that as one of their favorite terrains. And they're not going to be disappointed by the lack of it existing. Okay. I guess the first thing that I should get done is the desert down at the bottom of this one. It's an odd thing where the closer to the South Pole you get, the warmer it gets actually in Solaris, in Solarnox. Let's see, yeah, just about right there is just a desert. People are unsure why it's so hot in the pole down there, and both poles even, because the volcano, the super volcano, is at the North Pole. Normally it's like, well, that should be cold, that would make sense, but no, it's hot as balls down and up there. And then Kornax's desert is actually completely separated from the rest of the continent thanks to a gigantic mountain range. And fixated at the center of the mountain range is, what did I call it? Heaven's Peak. The Heaven's Peak, which is the mountain located right at the center of the range right there, is the highest point in the world. One can see most everything when perched up there until the horizon kicks in, and then, you know, that's a thing. Okay, that kind of takes care of that. The rest of this is grasslands except for the 2 lakes that exist on this continent, which I am going to zoom in a little bit more to be able to get the detail on them. Okay, so we're going to come back up here to my tool. We're going to shrink down to about a 5. Yeah, 5's good. Okay, so we got the one lake right over here at the other end of the mountain. So basically when you're traveling, if you want to get to the South Pole from there, you've got your stop at your lake there for everything, and then you've got the mountain, and then desert. You gotta wonder how the economy is able to function with that type of a thing, but you know, that's their problem. Yeah, that looks about right. That's not too small, is it? Maybe that's a... No, that's good. That one's fine. Its other lake is up here, which is actually the bigger of the 2 lakes that I had. This one being shaped theoretically identical to the continent of Kornax, except in reverse. It is a upside down firebird in its design. Just gonna try and get some of the same general shape that I've got here. And I feel like that is entirely too small for what I was going for originally. This is supposed to be the bigger of the 2 lakes. And now I've made it too wide. Oh boy. We're just gonna start over there. That did not go as planned. Okay, let's try this once more. Because just on the surface, it is just a simple lake with a bigger basin that prongs out into 3 smaller, formidable sized lakes. That when you get a bird's eye view, which you wouldn't normally in world, you notice that it is actually shaped like a bird. But you know, in reverse. Just one of those things that it's a detail that I liked and opted to keep for it. Why did I pick this detail? I don't know. It's one of those things. I pick details just because, I don't know, it sounded good. I just need to cover these non-completely covered squares. That one at the center I can just auto-fill in. Because unfortunately, this thing does not have just a autofill tool in the slightest, as far as I can tell. It is a case of you've got to manually draw it all by hand. Which, you know, isn't bad in concept, but can get quite tiring on the hand when you're trying to make sure everything's shaded properly. And we're going to place that block there, and I missed a couple places. Okay, that looks good. Let's zoom out and take a look at this continent now with everything else. That actually looks like that's coming along quite nicely. Like, definitely feel like it's going to need some of those more finer details eventually, but it'll come along quite well. Okay, Alahim over here, I don't know what I'm doing with this one. It's an odd continent that doesn't have anything remarkable except a bunch of odd races in it that all fight over ownership of the castle that rests in the center of the continent. I don't even remember what the races were over here off the top of my head other than it existed. But like, all that's notable about this continent over here, let's see if I can find it. Capital, we're gonna go with tower. That's more than a little too huge. Boom. That's all that's notable about this continent over here. That's it. I don't have any different biomes set up in it. It's one of those that I'm definitely going to need to explore more deep into. How? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to. Okay. The pole down here at the bottom, due to the heat, it is just one massive ass desert down here. Nothing too fancy, but it's there. I didn't even realize that those two were going to be so simple, and that technically finishes these for the main bulk of the continent. So now that those are done, I'm actually going to swap back over to my regular mouse, because doing drag and drop things with the pen mouse is not one of the most comfortable. Okay, so let's see. We're going to start with Isle of Nightmares down here. I think that's a good place to start with, mostly just due to the fact that it is so tiny I can't really put much on it. So we're going to do Orc Citadel. How tiny can I get you? 15%? That's too big still, technically. What about the Orc Town? Even at 15%, that's technically too big. I'm just gonna place that there. No one will notice. Okay, then let's move up to the other scary up here with Zurich. Okay, let me pull back out my Zurich map. Zurich. Okay. Do I have any notable towns here? The Desolate Lands, the Shining Mask, Reign of Toulon and Mount Hades. Ah, yes, because that main enemy that I had that I wasn't able to do anything with back in the day. Because so the main quote-unquote enemy of it that I mentioned down below is the Empire, or the Reign of Toulon, rather. That was the the fiendish empire thing that exists up here. They keep this, called the Shining Mask, as what they let everyone believe Zurich is. There's hardly anything. It's just where a handful of tieflings and dragonborns come from. It doesn't have anything notable. All it's got on it is a single dock where boats come and go, and then a single little dinky trade village. Not even anything fascinating. It is just a village. And they keep most travelers from going farther into the continent. The few that are pesky... Oh, let's see, I'm trying to think. I don't want to get too detailed on some of these, because there's a lot of things that are just going to be shoved into such a small area. I want to just keep the key details on this. So let's see. There's no... That's kind of unfortunate. That's all it limits me to. No, I want mountain. Is that really the tiniest I can get this mountain to be? Oh no, it's gonna just be difficult. Okay, because I want this mountain to be bigger. I'd rather it be a volcano than a mountain, but you know, beggars cannot be choosers. I think that's the right size I want. I want to see if this will not artifact it so much if I start it at... See, that was what? 27%? Nope, I want bigger. There we go. I like how that looks. I'm just gonna delete this little dinky thing there. Grab this one and we're gonna place it right there. That's gonna be the proxy for my volcano, since I can't really do much about that. Gonna place itty bitty little citadel. There. Ah, whoops. Okay, didn't actually place anything. So I want to push this mountain forward. Don't know if it covered up the citadel that's there, but oh well. Because that is the capital of Zurich there, that hides in the shadow of the volcano. Back in the Desolate Lands, one of the only things to exist there, because, you know, no one's gonna come over here. I can plot and plan and do what I wish. Okay, over here on Solaris, again, I want to stick with minor details, I'm realizing. Okay, so we're gonna grab our capital marker. And it is roughly right there. Gonna come over here, grab some mountains. 15%. And just see what I can place down on those. Oh yeah, just gonna place a handful of these here. Don't know why it doesn't preview those quite properly. But, you know, doesn't really make too much of a difference. It still gets done what I need it to get done, of giving me rocks. Okay, I gotta move or delete a handful of those that went out of line. That looks good. Oh, whoops, I completely forgot. I didn't actually texture Solaris all the way in. Because I forgot, as I was saying, this desert over here is not just a desert. The desert actually surrounds the deep, lush Forest of Illusions. This is the homeland of the elves, specifically the wood elves and sun elves, I believe. And you have to have an elf with you to be able to navigate anything through here. It is a very, very dense forest that without someone to help, you will get lost. And most of the time, it'll just spit you right back out from whence you came or on the other side because, you know, it's funny. Okay. Come down here to Pelham. Do I have anything that can stand in for my mines? Watchtower, outpost. No, we're gonna go ruins. I think ruins fits it that little better. Yeah, there we go. Even though you like really can't see any of this, but you know, whatever. Okay, down here to Cornax. Let's zoom out just a smidge so I can see everything. Got my reference so I know where things are. Okay, the capital of this continent is right up here just below the neck of the Firebird. And then guess what? We've got more mountains. Just gonna fill this range with mountains as best as I can. Then I'm going to, in all honesty, take one of these out almost full size and just smack it down in the center to represent, hey, this is the big one. Oh yeah, that's some dense mountains right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we're gonna upscale this there. See how that looks? Let's place it over here. Oh yeah, that's big enough. And we're gonna take, whoa, no, I just want this one. I'm gonna bring this with me, and it's gonna go, you know what, as much as I like that one for its size, I don't like the design that one got. I want one of the ones that's much more like that. That screams Heaven's Peak. Not just the hills have eyes. Okay. And we're gonna place that right there. And then there is another, there is a volcano down here. Not anything major of a volcano, it's an inactive volcano actually, but it is still a volcano. I don't think there's anything else notable on this continent that I need to focus on. I already got that continent, which means I think that's all my current markers placed. Yeah, for all my basic stuff, that kind of gets everything the basicness of this world of my Solar Nox map. Okay, so I'm gonna save that, and I think that means pretty good progress on this. I don't know, I might end up streaming this again when it's not 1 o'clock in the morning. Just a case of I'm rambling to myself already, I might as well record it, and then if any of my players check this out, they can get a little bit of insight on it. And hey, if any of my players did end up watching, just let me know, and you got a point of inspiration to start off the game with when we get started. So, yeah. In the meantime, I think that's going to do it for me. Got the map basics done, and I think that's all good. No idea what else is going to end up being added to this at any point. Besides, you know, I actually don't even know what all I would add, if anything, to this. Here, we're going to add a Dargan. Because that's the land of dragons. So that makes sense. And, you know, thematic, we're gonna throw a squid over there. A sea serpent down there. And a couple boats where the different sea passages are, actually. So there's one that goes over there, one that goes over there, down there, and there. That's where all my different boats are. I think that adds a little bit of character to it, and I like that. Just because there's a lot of just empty space, unfortunately, and there's not much I can do about that. Anyway, what are these icon things? I didn't even notice them before. What's the... no, that's far too small to use. I'm gonna delete that one there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with like adding notes and such like that. That's just more work than I need to deal with. So, alrighty, well, thank you guys for stopping by the stream. Sorry it's not much, but you know, just trying to fill out that punch card of streams and just, yeah. Thanks for hanging out. And once the different dice finish, I'm gonna call that a stream. Alrighty. Thank you all for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of a stream and a little bit of an insight into how Adric's brain works. Because, dear gods, I don't even know how it works, so. Alrighty. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. You all have a good one. Be sure to check out my other streams. I've been doing Monster Prom and Detroit Become Human a lot recently, and got a couple other things going as well. Until then, I can't wait to bring your dreams to life. And you all have a good one. Peace out. I don't know why I said that. Whatever. Catch you all next time.